Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And, of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Hey, man. There's a lot of morning shows out there, but they not like us. You know what I'm saying? Today, we picked this thing back up, rating the draft series, and we'll talk about our third round pick, our second third round pick, Marist Liufau. Yeah, y'all stick around for that. If you are not familiar with what we do, I'll explain it to you a little bit later. Also in the roundup, we have, I guess it's a rumor that came out the other day. I'll address it. I didn't get a chance to address it yesterday, so I shall address it today, Cowboys Nation. So y'all stick around for that as well in the roundup. Coming out of that, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. Look, I love this series. Today is going to be one of those ones where this series really puts to test each and every category, because I think we're going to be all over the place. But at the end of it, you'll see why I have these ratings where I do with one Marist Liufau. Shouts out to my guy Vach in the building. Shouts out to the Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
How we doing, man? How we doing? I see somebody said, was waiting on your thoughts on Marist. Drop them jewels, brother. Shouts out to you, E or Edmund. I'm definitely going to, look, the reason why I love this series is because I dive into these players beyond just the tape as well. And as we get to know him a little bit more, I think you'll come away really liking this kid. And we'll see what he can provide for the Cowboys. You know what I mean, we'll see what he can do this year and for said future. Oh, Professor O! Wait a minute. Come on, Professor O. You can't be doing that to me, dog. Professor O just dropped this in the chat. Per Jordan Schultz, and I love this, by the way. The Cowboys are meeting with wide receiver Zay Jones. What's good, Lee? See, the thing about live shows is at any given moment, something could change. Okay, look, here's what we're not going to let this change the whole show up. We'll probably talk about this tomorrow. I already have what we're going to talk about, but I think I'll include this into tomorrow's show for sure. I want to dive a little deeper on Zay Jones, but I like this just off the bat real quick. I do like looking into a guy like Zay Jones. Brings in another veteran player. You lost a veteran player, add another veteran player into that wide receiver room. You didn't come away with a top wide receiver in the draft. I'd be all for it. So there it is. Breaking news. Cowboys are meeting with wide receiver Zay Jones, formerly of the Jags, who torched us, formerly of the Raiders, who I think he had a good game against the Cowboys when he was with the Raiders too. Some big catches and whatnot. So there you have it. We'll get into that a little bit more. Maybe we'll talk about it later today, but it's all about the Cowboys' future, and I want to dive into Marist Liufau, all right, if y'all don't mind. Now, we got a lot of people up in here. Let's get right into it, Cowboys Nation, in our morning roundup.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. So the other day, just chilling, and I see Najee Harris' name and Cowboys just going around on the Twitter sphere, and I'm like, what did I miss here? You know? And apparently, there was a rumor coming out of Pittsburgh, a Pittsburgh radio station that said that, okay, the Steelers are declining Najee Harris's fifth-year option, thus they're putting him on the block, and the Dallas Cowboys are calling, showing interest. Then almost immediately, local Cowboys media said,
No!
wait a minute. False. Lies. Cap, sir. There seems to be nothing surrounding truth to said rumor of Najee Harris and Cowboys Nation. Now, the reason why I decided to bring it up, because it is at a position the Cowboys could potentially add another back to. Here's why I don't believe it, right? Because, look, the Cowboys could be feeding their local media false news too, right? That's always a possibility. But here's why I don't believe it. Here's why I don't think there is real interest. Harris, a good back, right? I don't want to knock him. I think he's a fantastic back. But he's a bit redundant. I've talked about that a lot this offseason or the last few weeks. The Cowboys running back room already has a similar style to it with three of these guys, four if you really count the fullback. And I think Najee Harris would just add to that, right? You got Royce, you got Zeke, you got Hunter Lipke. You have big body bruisers to use in that role in a running back by committee. Now, is Najee better than those guys? Yes, probably. Okay. But if they're going to run a committee approach, you already have that. I think they're looking for more spark. They're looking for more pop, some sizzle, right? More speed to complement the running back by committee. I don't think Harris necessarily does that. Number two, now this could change, but Harris's cap charge, I believe, is over $4 million as we speak. So that, when you negotiate a trade, hey, you guys take a little bit of money, that could be a possibility. Or they could say, no, it's not even that big. You take it all. Either way, I think that is going to be a little bit too pricey for the Cowboys, especially when you take into account draft capital would have to be attached to Najee Harris as well. So you got a $4+ million cap hit or maybe $3+ on top of draft capital. Well, Sky, it's only going to be a 6 or 7. Hey, man, the Cowboys, they love to hold on to those 6 and 7 round picks. They look at that as value because they don't participate in free agency. And if they're going to trade one of those day 3 picks, they're looking more like for Cooks or Gilmore, I think. Or you go back a little bit further, they gave one up for Bennett and Quinn. These were guys who were high-level players that are maybe a little bit older. Granted, Harris is younger, but here's the kicker. He's on his last year of his deal. So if you attach capital plus a little bit more money they're willing to pay at the position on top of the redundant part that he'd be adding to the room, I don't really see it. There's other backs that if you wanted to do that, I would go after a legitimate back with maybe more years on the deal that you can say, okay, after this year, he can still be our RB1. It smells fishy to me. Local media already called cap on it, and I agree with local media. I don't see this one, Cowboys Nation. What say you, though? Najee Harris, do you guys see something to it? I don't. I don't know that this makes sense. And that's not a knock on Harris. I think Harris is a good back. He plays in an offense that has not been good, coordinator that's not been good, and he's produced. He's been solid. And they finally got him Warren, who, again, talk about duo approaches. I think that's the future of this league. I think it's been that way, but it's the future of the Cowboys. They complement each other very well. Unless Pittsburgh's going to get a nice, haul from it, they'll probably just let him play his contract out and draft another running back. I think that's how you really should do it, unless you have a special back, and Harris is not a special back to me. Husky said, nah, we good. Clicks. Such a bad idea. I can see us doing it. Come on, Toxic. What are we doing? Lee said, nah. Yeah, everybody's out on this, man. I agree. It doesn't make any sense. Tony said he doesn't fit the West Coast. Tony, I hear you, bro. Although I think Najee can catch the rock in the backfield, if that's what you're talking about. As for a running scheme, hell, we don't even know what we're doing from a running scheme, Tone. But usually in the West Coast offense, you're throwing the ball to your backside. I think Najee could do it, but I don't really know what McCarthy wants to do in that sense with these backs. That is a huge question mark. It may benefit the Cowboys, y'all. It really may benefit the Cowboys that the league doesn't even know. We don't know. The league don't know. Hell, I don't even know if Mike knows what he wants to do with this room just yet. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a conversation about legitimate players here soon. I was going to do it this week, but maybe next week I'll talk about legitimate players I think they could be looking at, or they should be, to bring in. I know a lot of people don't even want to touch the running back room. I'm not out on it yet. I think we need to add more to it. I'm not just done with the running back room. Would he improve it, T-Dub? Probably. Is he better than Zeke? Probably, yeah. Is he better than Royce? Yeah, probably. If we were looking for a legitimate hand the ball off to a guy 15 to 17, 20 times a game, I'd choose him over what we have. I don't think we're looking for that guy, though. I think we're looking for guys to take a piece of said pie during the game. Maybe Zeke gets 7 carries. Let's just say it's Royce, Zeke, and Rico. We could throw Deuce in there for Rico back and forth. I don't think you're going to see a guy getting more than 10 to 13 touches weekly in this offense, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? All right. Let's get down to brass taxes here. By the way, I'll holler at y'all for a little bit. 351-999-3787. Come on in. Call. We'll talk about Liufau. We can talk about this rumor if you want. But I really want to dive into this draft pick because it was really interesting in the sense of it was at that spot where I thought, I don't want to say it's going to make or break the draft, but this will determine what the Cowboys are going to do post-draft, this pick. I felt that way. Now, obviously, things could have changed once you got to the 5th, but this was a pivotal moment in the draft. And when the Cowboys said, "Hey, Marist, this is Will. Not McClay, Skywalker still. We got somebody on the phone that wants to talk to you here."
Hello?
Marist.
How's it going?
How you doing? Hold on 1 second. Marist,
Yes, sir.
this is Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys.
How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing great, but I'm really proud that you're now a Dallas Cowboy.
Thank you so much.
And in the 3rd round, second pick for the Cowboys, they select linebacker Marist Liufau out of Notre Dame. Big fan of Marist. One of the first guys we kind of looked at in said draft, me and Foots, and again, I'll dive into a lot of the player on the field. But let's kind of get to know young Marist Liufau. This is a kid that is another one of those high-profile athletes from Hawaii, specifically from the island of Oahu. I've been practicing my Hawaii names. Shouts out to him and his family. He's related to Puka Nacua. We all know the Rams' 5th-round pick last year that came out and broke rookie records, I believe. And he also went to a high school that produced guys like Manti Te'o, DeForest Buckner, and a couple other. I think Kai Fairburn, kicker for the Texans. So they've produced a number of NFL players. They have that lineage. And y'all know how I feel about these athletes from the island. Like, at the very least, you're getting a guy who's going to work his ass off. On top of that, though, he is a talented player. Was recruited by Notre Dame, eventually chose to go, and he started out there at South Bend in the secondary position. So if you see some of his film, you kind of see that fluidity in coverage, right? He's very comfortable running with these guys because he played secondary, right? At the Senior Bowl, they asked Liufau, what are teams getting in you? And he said, quote, a physical dominant presence on the field, who's going to be a leader, who is used to calling the defense. I pride myself on being a veteran leader. I'm able to show what is correct and what I expect of them. Oh, that part right there. That part right there. This is what I expect of you. I like that. One of the big buzzwords out of the offseason this year is what? Accountability. What did Will McClay have to say about our guy? He said, quote, he's a linebacker that can rush, that can play stack, that can play on teams, has 34-inch arms. And I talked about that when breaking him down with Foots. He has this long arm for a linebacker. It's very interesting. Adding that multiplicity into our defense and what Mike Zimmer wanted from that specific position. You see those things from the guy, and he does it at Notre Dame. He plays all over the field and can drop in coverage. The multiplicity and the number of things he can do at a high level was very attractive. Fair. He is a guy, and if you guys watch the draft show, when we were talking about him, he is a guy, Vox kept bringing up, man, he's everywhere. And he was lined up in a slot. He's lined up in the line of scrimmage. He's at Mike. And again, he started his career at middle linebacker. Started his career at Notre Dame as a DB. And he slowly but surely worked his way down to like that rover position and then ultimately full-time linebacker. And this is no knock on Demo. Demo came in even frailer, 6'3", 220. And then you had Marquise Bell last year, 205 pounds. This ain't that. 6'2", 6'3", goes about 235, and he'll probably add a little bit more muscle to it. So we're talking about a guy that's going to probably play around 235, 240 through his career, but he moves very well with it, which he's not 260. He's not LVE. And you'll see him move much better than that, in my opinion. So y'all know how this goes. For those who do not, we have 3 different categories of ratings. By the way, y'all, is my audio too high, too low? We good. I'm always trying to fix this. We have 3 categories of ratings, and the first one that we always talk about is the value of said pick. I just talked him up. Y'all don't kill me for this. We'll get to that quote later. I graded a bit harshly on this one. 2 stars for Marist Liufau. Round 3, pick 87. I have here, they gambled on running back to secure their linebacker. So reports came out, I think this was yesterday actually, that the Cowboys had 2 of the top running backs in the draft left on the board, at least. It came down to them 2 backs and Marist Liufau. Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright. Me personally, I would have went with one of those players, which would have completed the room, in my opinion. If I had said big board, I would have had those guys above Liufau. But thinking like the Cowboys, right? Because, what was the thinking for Dallas? From their perspective, they probably looked at this thing and said, okay, let's look at the remaining linebacker stack we got. Let's look at the remaining running back stack. And they probably said, we'll take our chances getting said running back in the 5th round of value more than we'll be able to get that linebacker in the 5th round of value. Well, they lost that gamble, right? Almost immediately, because Marshawn Lloyd went to the Packers the very next pick, Jalen Wright not too far after, and then that 4th round was just boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was so many running backs just going, and by the time you got to the 5th, you were kind of just like settling a little bit on the running back position. There was still some guys you can kind of get a little bit excited about, but that top tier and that second tier, kind of that run was crazy. So because of that gamble, I did dock them. I did dock them on the value and gave them 2 stars. There's a lot of people that will look at the Liufau pick as a bit of a reach. Some had him as more of a 4, right? 5 at the lowest. But I don't necessarily think they're wrong in that they believed he wouldn't last either. Right? I won't say that. I don't think Marist Liufau lasts to 174. So now it becomes the battle of, okay, the linebacker or the running back. Sky, me personally, would have went with one of those running backs. I do think those guys would provide a much bigger spark into the room right now. Whereas I do feel like Liufau, we're projecting towards the future more so than the now. And we'll get to that second part here in a little bit, but I want to get back to the chat with you guys and see what you have to say. We talked about this, man. You were going to come out of this draft and you're going to take an L early at a specific position. And this was the spot for me where it was pivotal. It was the turning point, right? They do that in the NFL of the draft. What do the Cowboys elect to do? Because whatever they decide to do is going to tell us where they're going to go for the remainder of not just the draft, but post-draft, right? June 1st cuts, remaining free agents, Ezekiel Elliott. So when he is taken, it felt like, man, yes, there will be backs there, but Dallas is probably going to lean into Zeke, and they did that. They leaned into Zeke. Zeke's here. They got Royce and Rico, and they feel like, look, if we want to get it back, we can get it back afterwards. Nathaniel Peake got brought in UDFA. I would have went with the backs. They decided to go with them. We disagree there. Let's hope that works out for young Marist. So I got 2 stars for the value. I wouldn't say this screamed any crazy value to me, Cowboys Nation. Where would you put this at from a value rating, 1 through 5? I'd imagine it'd be hard pressed to see 4 or 5 stars here. This isn't like a Biletnikoff winner or anything like, not Biletnikoff. What's the one for the linebackers? Or is it? No, that's wide receiver. Whatever the award is for the linebackers, it's not like it's, he did that. I believe Damone Clark might have won it, or it was like a semifinalist. Butkus, the Butkus award. He might have been a semifinalist or a finalist for the award, and that was the 5th round. So that value I thought was great. You're talking about a 5th round pick, one of the best linebackers I think in the draft, but because of the injury, he got knocked down. I think this is a bit different. So we do got some 4 stars. A bit shocking here, actually, more than I expected. A lot of 1 and 2. I wouldn't go down to 1, but yeah, at least they can't get over that we didn't get it back. I hear you. It's the backs that were there is the one that did it for me, man. Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, 2 of my favorite backs in this. Well, one of my favorite backs, Marshawn Lloyd. I like Jalen Wright. I won't say he's my favorite, but I would have definitely took them. 0 stars, Danny Hustle. We got more 4 stars than I expected here. I'm curious on Why so high on the value here? Interesting. Glad we took a linebacker over running back, says Toxic. Look, man, I'm all for, I don't need to draft a running back in the first round. I'm all for, I don't need to sign a running back on big money. Third round, though. I mean, we talk about the third round of the draft. I mean, what are we doing here? Are we about to just be like, hey, we ain't got to take a running back ever? I don't know, man. Those running backs were, to me, higher on the board than Marist, man. Not at all. I don't think Marist was above them to me at all. So let's talk about where I view Marist at for his year one impact. I'm gonna go up a little bit here, but probably not for the reasons you're thinking. This is a little tricky though, because outside of Eric Kendricks, I don't think anything is a lock at the linebacker position. So he could very well play himself into a pivotal role at linebacker. However, right now, May 8th, 2024 at 9:13 in the morning Central, I'm going to assume Clark and Overshown get a legitimate crack because they scream more will linebacker to me right now. And you have Eric Kendricks to play the mic. Whereas I think they got some other things in mind for Liufau early and for the future. But I do think he will bring in competition to the room. I do think he'll push these guys. He adds legitimate depth, and he's going to be huge on special teams. This wouldn't shock me if he turned into a dude where we're seeing the hair flying around. He's forcing fumbles out there on special teams year one. So, we may kind of poo-poo at that thought process of him being an impact player on special teams. But, hey, if I can get some forced fumbles and big plays and you're knocking guys down inside the 5, yeah. I mean, I'll take that. That's huge. But Liufau is the first Zimmer Gunther guy at linebacker. And you can see some of those traits that they fell in love with, that they like immediately on film. He's a guy that pops as a downhill thumper. We are not drafting a guy that's going to play patty cake at the line of scrimmage. No, sir, Bobski. He plays with his hair on fire. He gets downhill. And because he plays with his hair on fire, sometimes he can miss some tackles. In fact, last year he missed a good bit. His missed tackle percentage was much higher than you'd like that to be. Now, he's got experience playing multiple positions. We talked about that when he committed to Notre Dame, played some DB. But they also utilized him as a blitzer. He was a devastating blitzer, right? They used him rushing off the edge. He won a lot out there. And we talked about the coverage. As I said before, he showed some comfortability when running with the backs and tight ends down the field. I don't really foresee him struggling specifically in man, being able to run and deal with some of these guys. In fact, it wouldn't shock me if he ended up matching up with, tight ends as well. I mean, he's going to have to match up with tight ends, but I think he can run with said tight ends. So, he's got a shot. If he can pick some things up quickly because of all these young linebackers, he's got a shot. And I don't know that there is any young linebacker on the team right now that plays with this much ferocity. They may be faster, maybe bigger, maybe stronger. If you want to say better. But I don't know, man. I look at his play style, and between Clark and Demo, Marist, Buddy Murphy, or whatever his name is, it's Buddy Johnson, I think. I don't know that there is anyone that plays with this type of violence and energy. And that's not a knock on those. He's just a different cat in that department. So year one, yeah, I don't really see him starting. That could very well change, right? He could get out there and press. Like I said, man, break the pool stick. Y'all fight it out. I do think it's Clark right now, but Demo is still in the wings. Demo got the knee thing, though, so we'll see how he gets back. So I'm not saying it's out the equation. Just right now, 5/8/2024, I think Kendricks is your middle linebacker. That's not going to change. And then Clark is your next guy with Demo and Marist. At the very least, you need to add real linebackers in this room so you're not rolling out Marquise Bell anymore. So I've got 3 stars here. A lot of this is going to be because of special teams and the depth he's going to provide. Year one, if I had to put a number on his legitimate starting impact, that's TBD. I got to go out there and see him compete with Clark and those guys. But he's a smart dude, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. I think he's going to get these things down. He's got something on his side that those other guys do not. He's the first Zimmer Gunther guy. If you go listen to the interview that Scott McCurley did, Scott brought up Paul Gunther. He said he was one of the first guys Gunther zeroed in on. And if you guys don't know who Paul Gunther is, he's our newly hired run game coordinator on defense. And I think he sees the traits here. I think Zim sees similar traits. I know the word Fred Warner was getting thrown around. Fred was drafted, I believe, in this round too. Let's wait and see on that one. But you see the traits that these guys really like for Liufau, especially coming downhill. We'll see what Clark does. I think Demo's mindset, he didn't get infested by the whole patty cake catch stuff. But between Liufau, Kendricks, and Demo, these are dudes that are going to come downhill. These are dudes that are firing out and trying to cause ruckus at the line of scrimmage. So I got 3 stars here. Let's hit the horns though. Let's talk to you guys a little bit about one Marist Liufau and whatever else is on your mind, man. Let's talk to Cowboy Mike.
What's good with you, Will Steele?
Good morning, good sir. My bad. Let me fix this.
Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, you got you good.
Yeah, we good.
I'm gonna echo on what you were saying, man. I think this guy is gonna bring a competitiveness to practice. Like, what's your guy's name? Can you hear me?
I got you, bro.
I'm losing you. Oh, okay. Damone Clark, for instance. That guy, I wouldn't necessarily say he takes plays off, but he lacks energy. And I think this guy can bring that to the linebacker room. Because if you got to step up and compete for your spot, and this guy's hair's on fire in every drill at every practice, you got to step your game up.
That's interesting because if you're just talking about, playing with energy, he does that 100%. I wouldn't necessarily look at Clark as a spark plug linebacker, no. And I don't think he takes plays off. I just think he is what he is. He's an unsure middle linebacker. You got to push him out the will where he can just run and use his athleticism. So maybe we'll see a souped up Damone Clark. Who knows? But I already know, at least coming in here, Marist is going to go 110%. And it was something that Micah said. It wasn't Micah, but he kind of reiterated it to Sam, though. I think it might have been Cam Jordan, who said, look, I'd rather you go 110% and be wrong than go 80% and be right. So I'm all for that.
I mean, like, you can live with some mistakes if you're being aggressive.
Absolutely, yep.
And especially with players like this guy, if you put him in a position to succeed, he's gonna do very well. But on another scheme or other teams, he may not perform as well.
Sure.
But I feel like Zimmer, most definitely a Zimmer pick. And we got to get energy on all 3 levels: D-line, linebacker, secondary. And I think that's what Zimmer's gonna bring to the team is scheme and energy. And all these players he's drafted, they all have energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's what we thought that, Dan was one of those energetic guys, right? Firing guys up and right. Trying to being the buddy and, hey, man, everything's going to be good, man. Play hard, right? Everybody's supposed to play hard. But I think there comes a point in time where, and I'm going to choose my words wisely here, where you stop believing a little bit. And that starts to show on the field. And I said this a long time ago, and I don't make a big deal about a lot of things. I'm not trying to go viral for a viral moment. But a long time ago, I said there is legitimate concern in the room for Dan Quinn. Like the belief was starting to dwindle, and nothing changed. And now you're seeing these interviews where some of these players are like, "Hey, man, this kept going on and nothing changed. This is all we did and nothing changed." And once
it's like he's gone now.
Yeah, so they can speak out. Yeah, they can speak out. Yeah, man. You got to believe. You have to believe in any system, really. And obviously, they did that early on with Dan Quinn. But the league figured him out, and he necessarily didn't figure out the league. And now he's moved on. And Mike Zimmer's here. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. Mike Zimmer's gonna make you believe. And if you don't, he's gonna find somebody that will.
Yeah, he is. He said that in that video, man. But in halfway through the season, I felt like the defense stopped believing in the scheme. Oh,
yes, that's what I'm saying to you, Cowboy Mike. It wasn't, and it wasn't just 2023, bro. There was concerns prior, but 2023, I think it all came to a head at specific moments because you were dealing with injuries, and the Cowboys didn't address certain. They addressed it in a weird way. Let's just say that. But schematically, they did not buy in anymore, and they were just out there just trying to just make plays.
Right.
Where Zim, I wish I had the quote. I'll go back and find it, but he said something in his press conference where he was like, "Look, it ain't about the splash play; it's about the process to getting there. Because splash plays, the variance can happen.
Exactly.
You know, it's like turnovers.
You get splashed.
Like turnovers, you can lead the league in turnovers, but it's such a volatile statistic. I can't count on that. Where I feel like the Cowboys were counting on turnovers and getting to the quarterback. Where Mike Zimmer is saying, if I can focus you on the process to making that play, and you're doing that all the time, then the plays will be made. But if it's just, hey man, there's no discipline in how we're getting there, a dead clock is right twice. So yeah, you're going to make a play here and there, but what happens when you don't? Now, instead of a 3-yard gain, it's 15. Instead of negative 2-yard tackle behind the line of scrimmage, it's 5 and it's a first down. So Zim is going to bring some discipline to this defense, and I think a guy like Liufau, it fits what he wants. Now we'll see if Zim is here long term though.
Hey, who's older as a coordinator, Zimmer or the Washington head coach? I'm not even going to say his name anymore.
Zimmer's older than Quinn.
So, I think Zimmer or Dan Quinn will be Zimmer in about 3 years. I think Zimmer's scheme is hair on fire, but we have a purpose. I think Quinn's scheme is hair on fire, no purpose, just running around like crazy.
So you say you think that Quinn will be Zimmer at some point?
Yeah, in a few years, but I think he needs a little bit more experience working on. You can't just be out of control letting guys fly upfield all the time. You gotta have, like you just said, you gotta have.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be. I think they play two different schemes or two different personalities. I don't know if they'll be the same in a few years. I think Quinn is going to be Quinn. I think what Quinn is going to be is your quintessential defensive coordinator who gets a head coach job. They aren't great head coaches, and they go back to being defensive coordinators, and they're very respected defensive coordinators. Like Quinn will flame out as a head coach in Washington. I think he'll do some good things for him, like he did in Atlanta. I don't think he'll go that far. Let's hope not. But I think he'll turn him around a little bit. He'll flame, and he'll go back to being a DC, and he'll be a quality DC. I think he's probably going to be a better DC than he will be a head coach.
Yeah, me too. Most definitely. Man, I got two more things that I'm gonna
pun intended on that, Tony.
I wanted Wright bad. I did not understand the pick at linebacker, but I'll say this: the offensive line makes the running back. So I think we will be okay with BB and shoring up this O-line. And the last thing I got, man, I'm gonna give a shout out to you, Foots, and Vox Lombardi, man. Y'all killed that thing. This was the first year I had the TV on mute listening to you guys and watching the draft.
Man, that's what we do it for, man.
I really appreciate y'all, bro. Really. Seriously.
That's what we do it for,
and
bro.
I don't give men flowers, but I'm gonna give y'all flowers, man. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it, Cowboy Mike. Hey, make sure. Look, that was just the first year we did it. I'm already prepping for the draft next year. It's going to be even better. I saw some constructive criticism, and I'm going to take that into account, and we're going to make this thing to the point where you dead ass don't even got to turn on ESPN. Watch.
Oh yeah, y'all got something, man. Y'all got something special, bro. Keep it going, man. Y'all have a good day, and don't forget about Mother's Day, fellas. Get your girl and your any female in your life, come with the flowers.
Real flowers, like you just said. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, they got some fake ones last forever though.
Fair enough. I mean, look, I am put the fake flowers around the crib for aesthetic, right? But because I don't want to take care of no damn flowers. You know, I'm not trying to water them all day. I'm not doing all that.
Bro, I got something in the doorway when you walk in. Everybody be like, is those real? Even if you got some fake soil in the bottom of the pot.
It's real to me, damn it. That's all that matters. All right, Cowboy Mike.
All right, brother. Y'all be good, man.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one. Cowboy up.
Cowboy up. Good stuff, man. It's a good call. Get out of here. We already got the impact there. I saw a bunch of supers coming through. Dare I go look at them right now? Shall I wait? Because we got some callers we want to get to. We have one more category to get to. But this was about Quinn, and this is the reason why I'm looking over it. Shouts out to you, G-Dub. Dropped 5 and said, Quinn was coaching for sacks and turnovers to get a head coaching job, not for wins. Players got addicted to the hype as well. I do think there's something to that last part where they got addicted to getting sacks and turnovers, but then they stopped being addicted to it and was like, let me get my butt ready. Help me. Help me. Yeah, that was a real life thing. It wasn't just because at the end of the day, you want to win, and you don't want to continue to get ran on and out schemed and been put in positions where you ain't most successful at. That's all I'm saying. But was he coaching for a head coaching job? Or I don't know about that one. No, here's why I say that. Quinn was already lined up. Right? Quinn was lined up to get a job the last 2 seasons. Right after 2021, after 2022, Quinn didn't have to do too much to go on the market again for the head coach circuit. And if that's the case, right? The Bills games and that comes up. The Niners, Miami's it's a hit or miss there, but some of these games aren't great games on the resume against these top-ish teams. So if he was coaching for a head coach job and you wanted to use some, I go look, hey, Packers and Bills and things like that. Say, what happened here? Right? What happened here? So I think he already knew he was going to be a head coach. There is the conspiracy, right, of he sabotaged the Packers game, right? That's so hard for me to. I'm not going to go that far. If you want to, that's for everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I do think there may have been a case of, I'll say this, 100% out coached. That's a fact. How prepared were you though? I don't know if it was on purpose that there was obvious lack of preparation and you were out coached. I don't know if it was on purpose. Maybe it was distractions, whatever. But how prepared were your team was not prepared. Shouts out to bro Foots. I don't know if you heard that, Foots. Cowboy Mike called in, man, gave us hella praise for our draft coverage. And I let him know that's just the first step. Next year is going to be even better, man. All right. By the way, Foots, this your guy right here. We talking about Marist. Let's get to the final one. Then we'll get to some callers and finish up with some super chats. Long-term outlook for Marist. Now, I gave y'all my value. I thought that was fairly low. I do think year one, he has the potential to be a high-impact guy, special team-wise, and he adds some depth and competition in that room. Long-term, though. Oh, long-term, I feel real good about this kid. if he's not a staple player right now, I don't think that has any bearing on his future. And look, I get it. As fans, after 1 year, if they don't do a whole lot, we out, right? Like, look what's happening with the 2023 class. Mozzie Smith, people hate him. Deuce Vaughn, hey, get him out of here. Luke Schoonmaker probably should never been here. That is what it is. That class is not well received for its long-term future because of what it did in its first year. I'm not writing off a bunch of people after 1 year. I hope you do not do that for this kid if he's not a starter. Okay? Because I think he's in a perfect situation to be groomed as a future Mike linebacker. You got Eric Kendricks here, right? And the cerebral aspect of the position, I think, is going to be at its highest since Sean Lee was here. With all due respect to LVE, he's a player that was a very heady player. Sean Lee, Eric Kendricks on an entirely different level. That said, Liufau is a smart backer that gained the attention of Mike Zimmer. Do you guys remember during the call? This is something that Zim had said here.
So much.
You sold me when you told me what everybody on the defense was doing it when you were
This
here.
one right here.
So much.
You sold me when you told me what everybody on the defense was doing it when you were here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, I had a great time.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have a better time now.
I thought that stood out to me. When you listen to Mike Zimmer, by the way, who's going to be running this defense, and it says, I was sold when you knew what everybody was doing out here. That's what a Mike linebacker is supposed to do. And I want to get back to that quote that I showed a little earlier, because I thought this quote, man, was one of my favorite quotes coming out of the offseason from Marist Liufau, who spoke down at the Senior Bowl. And they were asking him a lot of questions, and dude is a smart player. He said, at Notre Dame, my position coach taught me how to play free. His philosophy was to let us play free, read, and react. That works better when you have the speed to get to a spot. Then you learn so much about the game. Little things here and there that I never thought about. This part wasn't rare. I have learned the defense as a whole instead of my job on the field that has helped me in my football IQ. Later on in that interview, he also said, quote, my expectations are to be a big role on the defensive side and get communication set. My preparation and attention to detail is what has made me a better player. Boy, if that don't scream Mike linebacker to you, I don't know what to tell you here. This dude, and you can hold my feet to the fire next year. I don't do a whole lot of stamping, especially this early, but I'm going to stamp this one here. Marist Liufau will be your Mike linebacker of the future for the Dallas Cowboys. Starting next year, unless there's an injury. But 2025, this is your future starting Mike linebacker, and that's exactly why I have his long-term outlook at 4 stars. Really, honestly, it doesn't even matter if Zim or Gunther are here next year, right? Because that's the other thing about this draft. It's so weird. You know, some of these players are going to be very scheme-specific. I don't think Liufau is pigeonholed into a specific scheme. This is a smart backer. He's athletic. He can cover. He is a god dang bulldozer when he blitzes. I mean, you talk about the thump. You know, we've shown it. He can do all of these things for you. So that's why I've got him pretty high in regards to what he could be for the Cowboys moving forward.
You sold me when you told me what everybody...
Get out of here, Zim. Not necessarily right now, but in the future. But I'm not going to rule him out competing with Clark and Overshown. My problem is I think Clark and Overshown feel more willed linebacker to me. In year one, you may see him utilize, if Marist gets in there, utilized as a blitzer, utilized as a guy that can get after the quarterback. But hell, Demo showed a little bit of that too. I think he's just tailor-made for the middle Cowboys nation. So I got 4 stars here. What say you? How many stars are you giving Marist Liufau for his long-term outlook. I do hate that our coaches are on this 1 year thing because that leaves a lot of uncertainty moving forward. But this is why I think there's a difference between Liufau and Nealon. Remember earlier, Nealon, I kind of docked his long-term outlook to a 3 because I wasn't sure about the coaching situation. Now, if he turns into Max Crosby, like I said, then it doesn't matter. But obviously, Nealon is a specific type of player early on in his career. And what if the new coach says, I'm good on that? I prefer more speed, or I prefer more pure pass rush guy. Like, what if that coach says that? So now Nealon kind of falls out of favor, unless he just, again, he goes crazy. I don't think that's the case with Liufau. I don't think it really matters who the coach is. A middle linebacker is a middle linebacker, especially if you're smart and you're athletic, and he's both of those things. Yeah, I mean, there's always questions. Johnny, he's got 3 stars. 5 says Chris. 4 for Professor O. Coverage ability says Marcus. Yep. Is he better than Jalen? No. Coming out? Absolutely not. Jalen Smith, if he didn't tear his knee up, man, that was a special player at Notre Dame prior to the knee, so I wouldn't say he's better. No, I don't think he's better than Jalen. Coming out again, I feel he's going to be a true solid Mike, says Marcus. I agree. I think this is a Mike's Mike type of linebacker, especially in today's game. Back in the day, it looks like LVE 6'5" or whatever LVE is, 260. That's what the Mike linebackers look like in 2001 or something. Now you're looking like 6'2", 6'3", roughly 235, 240. That's what you're looking at with these Mikes that can move. I would hope Toxic. He's talking about Jalen pre. Jalen post, then the conversation gets interesting. Jalen pre-injury, no. Jalen pre-injury was like a top 5 prospect in that draft. All right, let's get back to the horns here. Let's talk to Aaron. Doesn't call in much, but he's always in the chat. What's good, man?
Hey, what's up, guy? Can you guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
Cool. So, I wanted to call in for Marist. I also want to call in for Kalen, but we'll get to there.
For who?
So, for Kalen Carson, I want to call in for him as well.
Yeah, he's next.
I've watched anything I can get my hands on. I've watched Marist. I've actually watched all Marist games twice because I can see why he's such a, like, on the consensus board, he's a 5th round pick. And then Cowboys pick him in the 3rd. And the first time I watched him, we just drafted a special teamer. I don't see this guy as a starting linebacker. Then I watched him again. I'm like, all right, okay, this guy can be a starter. And then I watched him again. I'm like, all right, this guy's a special teamer. So what I've come to,
you don't know what you you don't know what you got in him for you.
It's because he's a 50-50 player to me. So they keep saying how he's so smart and he knows all the roles, and you watch one play, and he does, this most amazing thing. He comes downhill, boom, hits the running back, or he has a nice play where he blitzes down the middle, and he sacks the quarterback. And then the next play, he jumps out of a gap, and boom, they get hit with a 60-yard touchdown run because of him. So it's I don't know.
So he's a young 3rd round linebacker. That's basically what he is. Right. If he was the perfect linebacker in that aspect, he wouldn't have went in day 3. So that you're definitely going to have to deal with some of that for sure.
So the thing for year 1 impact is we talk about this all the time, or you talk about it, is coaches are not going to put someone on the field that they don't trust. So I can't see this guy being on defense in year 1 at all and when I watch him, I don't trust this dude. But he's got all these skills, and he can cover. So this is why I'm so, conflicted.
Dude, you don't even know what it is. So which is it, dude? What is it? Look, year 1 impact, my rating for year 1 impact is heavily favored towards special teams and adding depth. I that's why I said today, May 8th, we have to go out there and see camp-wise and things like that for me to go beyond him being a depth player at this point in special teams. The year 1 impact for me was rated because of that. But he is a smart player. He is a guy that can play multiple spots on the defense. It's going to be about them putting him in position. If he picks it up, I do think he will push those other guys. But I'm not ready to say that just yet because We got to go out there and see him do some of these. I think he's tailor-made to be a Mike. I don't necessarily think he's tailor-made to be a Will guy. But he can, hey, look, he can fly. Don't get me wrong. He can definitely do that. But you need that, I think, that dependability early on. And I think Kendricks gives you that from the middle. You're absolutely right. There are plays where you see him. Again, this happens with these young linebackers that are instinctive. You saw with Darius Muasau. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Muasau, but we talked about him before. Extremely instinctive linebacker. The problem is them instincts will lead him to the wrong direction sometimes. And I'd much rather my linebacker have the instincts of jumping maybe into the wrong gap as an early player, right, a rookie, because that can be coached, right? Experience, reading keys, learning the game more studying in the NFL, that can be coached. Give me an instinctual guy that maybe picks it wrong from time to time over a guy who isn't sure of himself and is caught, and now we're trying to coach him to be instinctive. I don't know if you can coach instincts like that. That comes with confidence, and I think this is a confident kid. So, yeah, year one, that's why I said value. I don't have it as high. I don't really see him being your Mike linebacker year one. That's Eric Kendricks. And as for Will, I think they'll be the other guys.
At least he moved forward when the run happens, and he drops backwards when the pass goes on. Like, that is different for us.
What?
Does move forward, actually, when the running back gets the ball.
So at least he looks like a linebacker. Fair enough.
Exactly. I had one more thing, but I can't remember it. Oh, I had it. Okay. So for him to actually get on the field in year one, the one thing I want him to do is on third down when Zim does the double mug, I want him in the middle with Micah. That's where I'd want him. And then he either drops out into coverage or he blitzes through the middle. I do not want him rushing off the edge. And then I want Overshown rushing off the edge. That's how I would do it, but that's just me.
Mike Zimmer, there you have it, man. This is what Ron wants. I don't know if he'll get on the field with Micah unless there's just packages for that, which at that position, to me, I feel like you can't rotate linebacker like you would rotate defensive end. You need these guys to get a feel of the game. If you're just going to bring in Marist Liufau to blitz, guess what? Well, now I know this kid is either blitzing or he's dropping back. And if he drops back, he may not. If he drops back in the middle of a game, and he has no idea, how this running back or this tight end or this slot corner, or I'm sorry, receiver has been running the routes or the depth they've been going, or maybe he's reading, is this going to be a screen or the quarterback? Now you're asking this rookie that you don't even want out there to now play a guessing game where he doesn't have a feel for it. So, look, you're going to have your two backers, I think, with Zim, and those are going to be your guys. I've hardly seen him just run with four linebackers unless there's injuries happening in that sense. And I don't know that I want to put a ton on this kid's plate early, unless again he beats out if he beats these guys out, fine. Other than that,
I'm with it.
If he's out there, rush his ass. I mean, I'm okay with him. I'm not saying you put him at edge. I'm not saying you literally put him at defensive end, but he can line up outside of a tackle, maybe next to a Nealand or whomever, Sam Williams, and put pressure on that tackle. He has an arm length. I've seen him, steer guys, which is strange for a linebacker. So if you listen to McCurley, if you listen to McCurley said it's our job to put him in best situation this year, and that to me sounds like, look, unless he wows us from a inside linebacker situation year one, he's probably going to be a niche player as opposed to a guy that's going to get thrown out there into the wolves early on.
Appreciate it. All right, Scott, I'll call in when I can. My mornings are rough, but it's nice talking to you.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. Appreciate you, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Let's get 912 on the horn. What's good, 912?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? It's him.
Is who? Him?
Yes, sir.
What's good?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, a lot of people like the Cooper BB pick. It was their favorite pick of the draft. I love the Cooper BB pick, but this was my favorite pick of the draft. I'm a Longhorn fan, so I was one of those guys that was early on the Overshown bus, last year. And I think Overshown's still going to start, especially over Liufau. But I got a buddy, he's a Notre Dame fan, so I had to watch some of the games, and he was one of the guys that, you see guys flash off the screen. He was one of those. And especially since he got drafted by us, I tapped in, with my friend. He's been sending me clips, all kind of stuff. And like you said, he's 6'2", 235. He's the size you want. When I saw him playing, I called him Baby Palomalo.
That air, man.
Sometimes he'll splash like that. But when you talk about Sean Lee and what he was for this team and some things that Leighton Vander Esch did for this team, this guy's going to end up probably being the quarterback of your defense.
I agree.
He's real cerebral. He likes the film room. So him, his main weaknesses, running himself out of plays, overshooting it, stuff like that. He'll get all that under control in time. He's going to learn this defense in and out. If this is the defense we're going to stick with, if we end up sticking with Zimmer. So I really love this pick.
I think that's a great point before you move on there about obviously him being cerebral, him being smart, him running defenses and whatnot. I think we got to remember that this was, I believe, his first full-time year at backer. He started as like I said, defensive back to kind of worked his way down to more like a rover. He was sometimes DB, sometimes moving around, and then full-time this year.
He missed his whole junior year.
Yeah, broke his arm or something like that, or ankle maybe it was. But I think the things you said though, right? Yeah, did I pick the wrong guy? I may have, but I'd rather him shoot downhill 110%, and he's wrong, because I think that's something he can learn and get in the film room and study, and that'll be cleaned up, as opposed to a guy who's playing patty cake, unsure of himself. Now, there's times where you'll see him kind of shuffling, and he is a little unsure. I think it's him reading, right? And now it's the wrong lane. He's in the wrong hole, and the guy goes for a touchdown, or not a touchdown, but a gain. And I think that's what Aaron was talking about. Yeah, there is some of that in his game, which is why he's a third-round pick and not a guy that was being talked about like Peyton Wilson, right, as a first, second-round type of talent. There's clearly things this kid has to get better at. But give me a kid who's smart and who wants to live in that room to learn it, and who has the ability to move forward, get downhill, as opposed to a kid who may be uber athletic, but maybe didn't have it all up top.
Yeah, and once he is sure what's going on, it's like he shot at it. Like,
exactly.
On fire,
it pays off. I mean, you can see some of these clips right here. When he see it, he goes.
With time and sitting in the film room and, watching this, he's going to be, he's going to learn it. He's going to be all over on it. You know what I mean? He's going to be, I could see him picking off a bubble screen and taking it. But that comes with time. I heard the Jalen Smith comparison earlier. See, the thing about Jalen Smith was he'd stand there and he'd hop back and forth and wait for you to get close to him and it'd pop you. Liufau is not waiting on you. Liufau is coming after you.
Yeah, that's why we asked the guy in the chat, who are you talking about? Jalen coming out at Notre Dame or Jalen with the Cowboys? I think those are two different Jalen Smiths. Jalen coming out at Notre Dame, I don't even think it's a conversation. This dude was just a different animal before he tore up his knee. And I think he might have changed the course of a lot of these guys, like the history. Like, you don't see dudes playing in bowl games anymore, probably because of Jalen.
My main thing I wanted to touch on with this pick, I think he'll be a difference maker in those matchups against teams like San Francisco and Kansas City. Them teams that have them legit tight ends, because he's a tight end eraser. He's great in coverage. And he has, that wicked quick first step. Like, I seen him, it was actually in, I want to say probably a few games where a tight end would run an out route, and it looked like he's beat, and he would jump the ball and
he can cover, man.
Knock the pass down.
He looks comfortable. There's a couple, I put a couple plays in there, North Carolina State game maybe, where, he kind of false stepped a little bit. I think it was a play action maybe, and then the running back does a wheel route, so now he has to haul ass. But he recovered very well, was in position, and the quarterback had no window to throw him the ball. So they try to get these running backs one-on-one downfield against him, and it doesn't work out. And again, I think that's from his DB background. He looks very comfortable, and that's something that's huge for your Mike, especially if Zim's going to be around. And him sticking around with Eric Kendricks, you go listen to Eric. Eric Kendricks is a guy who he was one of the best, if not the best cover linebacker in the National Football League at one point. So I just think he's in a perfect situation to be groomed as your Mike linebacker after this season.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a decent impact, a good impact on this team this year. But I think this is one of those picks that it's really a ceiling pick, so you're shooting you're shooting at the ceiling.
It's a future pick,
and I think it'll end up paying off for us big time in the long run. So
let's hope. With it. Let's hope, man, because we know we haven't hit long term at backer since Sean Lee, and he was a guy that was in and out of the lineup. So.
All right, man. Well, great show. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, champ.
And
that's it.
Go Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Good stuff, man. Good call so far. We got a couple 717s in the building. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Did Zim bring in his own staff? Yeah. Paul Gunther. I'm not sure. We covered the new coaching assistants. Paul Gunther is a guy that worked with Zim for years. One of my favorite assistant hires in a long time because this dude is good at what he does. One of the best blitz guys, run game coordinator guys. He's going to help the run game defense alone from that. How much we'll see because the players still matter too. Greg Ellis obviously played under Mike Zimmer. That's one of his guys. And then Jeff Scanina from Washington. He was their defensive line coach for a while. He wanted his guy in New York because he worked with Zim for years in Minnesota, defensive line coach in New York. Didn't get a chance to get him. I believe it's Andre something. So they got Scanino, who, hey, he's got a good history over there in Washington. So I think the staff that Zim brought in should help players here that are here now and the guys obviously they brought in via the draft. Scott McCurley is still technically the linebackers coach. Again, I don't know nothing. I'm not saying anybody told me anything. I feel like Paul Gunther will be the guy that really pulls the most out of them. Think George Edwards. George Edwards technically was not a linebackers coach here from a title standpoint. He was senior defensive assistant. But George Edwards is a linebackers coach. That's what he did for years. And that's who we work with. And Micah attests, he gives George Edwards a ton of credit for his ability to play linebacker at a high level like he did in year one, where you didn't hear about Scott McCurley until George Edwards left. So maybe we go back to where Gunther is more involved with these linebackers and McCurley is just kind of the mouthpiece. All right, let's go. Well, we should know this 717. Toxic Tom. Take it away, sir.
So first off, I want to say I really like this pick, but I do agree with AA, Ron. It's a very polarizing pick. And you hit the nail on the head on talking about like the process of what Mike Zimmer is all about. And that is exactly why I did not want them to draft high on a running back. I do not trust Fat Garrett to put our running back room in position to succeed. I don't. Like,
is third round high to you?
It's not about the guy. It's just a matter of if I give you a third-round running back, I don't want to see you just run up the A-gap with him. No, it's not. Third-round running back's not high at all. Okay. No. I agree. I agree. I'm just more about – I'm a process guy, the why, the how.
Sure.
And I look at Mike McCarthy, and I saw what you did with Tony Pollard. I saw what you did with Zeke, playing him with the bum knee. I'm so glad I didn't give you a guy like Jalen Wright to just see you have him run up the A-gap, not use him in the screen game, and then just waste his career here. I know that Mike Zimmer is going to put this linebacker in position to succeed. That is like why
that's fair.
I preferred this pick.
That's fair, but you're also looking at it very short term. You're not taking Jalen Wright or Marshawn Lloyd for 6 months. You're taking them for 4 years.
And that's where this whole unknown really comes in, and I'm really hopeful that with Zim, he comes in and he teaches just a fundamentally sound defense, not that Rob Ryan gimmicky crap like Dan Quitt liked to run, where I have Bell coming down. I just really like, and the other thing I really liked about Marist was my dad's a huge Notre Dame fan, so begrudgingly I had to watch a lot of games. He's very, very smart.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
he is,
as you were saying that, also, do you view Marist Liufau as a guy that's going to play a whole lot this year?
I think he'll be on special teams primarily, and you'll see a snap count go up as the season progresses. It depends on if Zim is going to be the type of guy that's going to let a rookie, if he beats him out, I don't think Zim is going to be as
if he beats him out, he beats him out.
like resistant.
But as we stand here right now, do you view him as a starter?
No.
Had you taken Jalen Wright or Marshawn Lloyd, would you view those guys as a starter?
Do you hear the 80s style music coming down from the top below with Zeke in the office? No. Well, you don't bring Zeke back and say he's your fan favorite.
Well,
and
Zeke wasn't on the team.
Number 15.
Zeke wasn't on the team yet.
I mean,
I think Zeke is on this team because you didn't take him back. So if you have,
wasn't it during the draft? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was not. It was Monday. Monday they signed him. So if you have Jalen Wright, let's just say Jalen Wright, Royce Freeman, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and those boys, he's your starter, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you're essentially saying you're cool with passing on a starting running back who I think Wright and Lloyd can create. Because remember, one of the conversations we had was if you don't have an amazing scheme and you don't have an amazing play caller, then you do need a guy that can create. I think those guys can create. You're saying you'd rather have the guy who may not even be a starter until 2025 when the coach you praise to get the best out of him may not even be here. You see what I'm saying? So I get your angst against Fat McCarthy or Fat Garrett as you call him, but at the end of the day, football is football. And if one guy is actually going to be playing out there and starting and creating and getting big plays for you, while the other guy, if what you hope is that, you know, Clark and Overshown also get, you know, the best made out of them from their coach, he's just going to be sitting the bench and playing special teams. That value doesn't add up to me, is all I'm saying.
I guess I'll pose this another question. In the star right now, who do you think has more pull, Mike Zimmer or Mike McCarthy?
More pull for what? I mean, one's a head coach. The other
period. I view Mike McCarthy as the gimp, and I view Mike Zimmer as a guy that is their guy. You parade Mike McCarthy around like a ballish pet.
What does that have to do with what I'm saying about running back and the linebacker? What does that have to do?
What I'm saying that I think Mike McCarthy is on borrowed time right now, and the fact that he's here right now, unless a miracle happens, I just don't see how the Joneses bring him back. Mike Zimmer, on the other hand, I think has enough grace, and I think that Mike Zimmer, if you're giving him draft picks to develop people, I feel like he is going to actually develop people and bring them along rather than what I've seen from Mike McCarthy in 4 years. I loved Jalen Wright coming out of Tennessee.
But I don't get, Toxic, is you're speaking on Zimmer as if he's here for 5-10 years. You have no clue. He's here for one.
No clue. You're right.
He is here for one season right now that we know of. Right, because we get into this, let's say like you expect Cowboys, they get kicked out of playoffs, whatever. Dog, you think they're going to choose Mike Zimmer over Bill Belichick or something like that? That what's the name loves? I don't think that's the case. I think they'll settle on Mike Zimmer if they don't get the guy that they want. They will settle on Mike Zimmer. If they don't get the guy that they want in the coaching search, they'll be like, sure, no problem. I'll settle with Mike because we have some continuity here. But I highly doubt, if all goes to hell, next year, the first guy that they call in is Mike Zimmer, unless it's just to get the interview out the way. So you're speaking on McCarthy being completely gone from this equation and Mike Zimmer being here developing. And I'm saying developing means multiple years. Mike got one season. And for one season, if I'm taking a player in that round at that position, because I don't want to get too far removed from what we're talking about, give me the running back that's going to play way more than a guy that you said the most he's going to contribute is special teams. That's why I'm trying to keep the focus on that. Your angst against McCarthy, fair. Your confidence in Mike Zimmer, fair. They got the relationship. But pick to pick, player to player, situation to situation, I don't see how a running back in the third round, specifically those two, makes less sense than a linebacker. That's all.
And if you're going on that prism, then I completely understand your logic and point of view. I would never come up here and say Jalen Wright is a worse player than Marist. And that's what I was trying to say. And I just
you don't trust Mike. You like get Fat Garrett up out of here.
I don't trust him, and I don't trust that he knows how to put running backs in the best. I think that dude could have Walter Payton and Barry Sanders combined. He'd run him up the A gap and say, "Oh, hey, he's a good blocker. Let's have him block." I lost so much trust in him.
I hate this game.
That's where I'm coming from.
I hate this game. But I'll say this. I don't know how much how much you study some of these backs in the draft, bro. And if you listen to me, one of the things that I've noticed, and let me know if you notice this too, chat. And this is just times. I don't watch all the college games during the season. I watch some of the high profile ones, and I go out to a bar with the lady. We get something to eat, so on. I watch. But when you watch the film and you're studying 20-some backs, how come 99.9% of the time these dudes are running out of shotgun? That's all it is. All these dudes do is run out of shotgun, right? And for Tony, I hated it. I just was like, man, this ain't. Tony needs to, if they're going to run out of shotgun, then they need to get some line movement, create a lane, get, one, he's a one-cut runner, get downhill. I like him a little bit, zone or inside, not necessarily the gap stuff, the power stuff they were using Tony for. But Wright and Lloyd and, hell, all these damn backs now coming out of the NFL or college, they understand how to run out of the shotgun formation, right? Like I feel like they a little bit more. This scheme is trash in regards to run scheme, but maybe a Wright or a Lloyd who have shown that they can run out of this type of scheme would have given you a little bit more than maybe TP did.
And just the fact that they could use him out of the passing game, I just felt like they left so much meat on the bone with Tony Pollard.
I hate they use him.
And he was a weapon, even at Memphis. And I'm thinking, wow, they drafted Tony Pollard, more screen passes. We're going to use more motion. We can split him out. Like, this is a game changer. And they're like, nah, let's run him like Zeke.
Yo, I'm starting to wonder if the Joneses have something against screens. Like, and again, I'm putting on a conspiracy. I don't like to be that guy, but tell me how the hell did we just stop running them? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to the screen game in Dallas? What happened to getting the ball to the running backs out the backfield in Dallas? Why did it all of a sudden disappear? I know when what's the coach, the offensive coordinator we had, Dak's rookie year? Came from Detroit.
Scott
Linehan. Scott Linehan. So I remember when Scott Linehan was here, a very old school approach, right? Scott Linehan, screen game was huge in the time frame where he was a guy. He brought that here. There was some screen, Callahan and Scott Linehan, and there was all the hands. When the hands were here, that we was putting the ball in the hands of the running backs out the backfield. And then all of a sudden, Boy Wonder get here, and he like, man, screw the screen game. And then McCarthy's, I guess he just adapted to that. It's just screw the screen game, which is weird because he's a West Coast guy. So I wonder if the Joneses, I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out why the hell we stopped doing it.
Yeah, and the only person that could really fix it, honestly, is Ryan Nall. Have a good day, Scott.
Appreciate you, Toxic. Good conversation. Here's what I love about Toxic. It allows me to. That's all I try to do. Let me crack open your cranium, as my guy Law would say, or I should say, Michael Irvin. Let me see what exactly you mean.
What do you mean by that?
By that, somebody said because old boy couldn't block Tyler Biadasz. Bro, let me tell you something about screens. You have an advantage if you got the Travis or Jason Kelce's of the world, Travis Fredericks, and you definitely have an advantage. You don't need that to run a great screen. To run a great screen, you could do that with a poor ass offensive line. What you need is the timing to be down, right? The fakes if you're running a fake. You can't telegraph it. The time you run it. I say timing, I'm talking about timing of the play, but the actual timing of running the play in the game. I don't need you to be some Jason Kell. I don't need you to be that. If you have it, it's an advantage. Play action this way, get the linebackers going here, pop, 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 bow, release. I mean, I've seen them do it. I've seen them get out. I've seen Tyler Biadasz get out and get good blocks on the screen. Go look at the I think it was the Giants game. Go look at the Washington game, and he's done it. So it's not like he cannot do it. I just don't get why what happened to it. We suck at it, number one. Give you that. And I think that's a coaching thing. Way more than a player personnel thing. You can say bye-bye to the screen game in Philly. Kellen Moore was atrocious. I don't think he cared for it. What baffled me was we went down to camp not 2 years ago, last season in Dallas, and they were working on all types of cool little gizmos and gadgets in the screen game with Deuce Vaughn, and we saw one the screen with them. Rico 8 off the screen game. What do you have, y'all? 3 touchdowns? Something like that? In the past game, all of them were screens, or maybe 2 of them. So, yeah, look, Tyler Biadasz ain't great. I don't think you need to be. I think it's about how much time are you spending on it? How many, y'all go down to camp. We see the videos. How many times do you see them focus on the screen game? You really don't. You see them working on red zone like crazy. I get it. You see them working on the mojo and third downs, right? You see screens. I didn't see a whole lot of that down at camp. Now, when they broke the team away and it was just, I think it was at this point in time I'm talking about with the gizmos and gadgets with Deuce Vaughn, they had, I think, just the center, the quarterback, obviously, and all the running backs. And you would see the center pop, 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 release, and then they'll dump it off to Deuce or Rico, or they'll have jet sweep to Deuce or Rico, or they'll have both in the backfield, play action, throw it out. They were doing all types of cool things. And you kind of saw a little bit of that. One of my favorite plays that McCarthy has is, Dak, I believe it's shotgun, can't remember. No, he's under center. And they got a slant on the left side. If the slant's not there, they got the tight end running the hook. If the hook's not there, then you got the screen coming out the backfield with the lead blocker being the fullback and dump it off. I love that play. I'd run that ad nauseum. But the traditional screen game, again, I'm taking everybody's plays. I'm going right over there to Kansas City. Right over there to Detroit now. Miami. San Fran. I got how many months? 6 months to put this in? Maybe I'm naive. Maybe it's too much work to steal 2 or 3 plays from a team and put it in at camp. I'll call Andy Reid verbatim. I'll call Andy Reid directly. Hey, Coach Andy, I'm just calling to let you know right now, I'm taking all of your plays, and I'll meet you in the Super Bowl. What you gonna do, sue me? You don't own it? Stop playing. But see, these coordinators, they get these egos. They got I call it the Sinatra syndrome. I want to do it my way. All that. I'm gonna do it his way, because all those ways worked. And you can say the same thing for the ownership. I forgot we had, my bad. I went on a whole rant. 717-2717's in the building. What's goody?
Hello?
Yes, sir. You are live, man. My apologies for keeping you on hold there.
Oh, you're good. How you doing, Sky? This is Hoppy, also from PA here.
Yeah, see, so Central PA,
Tom, yeah.
Where we at there in PA? You see 717, you're only from around like 4 different places when you see 717.
Yeah, I'm in York here.
Okay. Shouts out to York.
But yeah, been listening to you and Vosh for about a year or two now. Big fan. Just don't really get a chance to call in, but I'm always listening.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, just wanted to say, big fan of what you guys are doing, both the draft show and the roundtable. I did get to watch those live. I, got my dad and my brother to watch them, and they don't really watch, a lot of YouTuber content. It's a lot of fun stuff. But anyways, as far as Marist goes.
Hold up though. How did your brother and your dad feel about it? Was they feeling the show? Did they like it, or was they like, this got to grow on me a little bit?
Well, they liked it. I will say both me and my dad, neither of us have cable, so we didn't have ESPN anyways. I was going to watch you guys regardless. But, that was my idea. I'm like, hey, let me just put my guys on here. And they liked you a lot.
Tough. Let's keep converting these guys.
From, their point of view. Yeah, and it's just, you did have film, but, even more film is always better, I would say. And I know it can be hard talking and doing that at the same time. And that plus the having the names at the bottom when they're drafted. I think if you had that, you guys would be perfect.
That's the one. That's the one I'm working on, man. Is getting that going so you guys can see everybody that's drafted. Because that's the one. When I went back and watched, I was like, damn, I should have put that there because we're not always going to focus on every pick. Once you get to day 2, that way you guys can at least see it as it goes. So.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Marist Liufau.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I have a whole lot to add there. I pretty much was going to say exactly what Tom said, except he said it a lot better than I could have. And I think it's really just a matter of looking at it, short term versus long term. And long term, you have to make a couple of assumptions as far as coaches go. But yeah, I mean, feeling about the running back too, I think that we have a couple of young guys who you're not proven, but not exactly a bust yet, and probably not being used properly. So, yeah, I mean, who are we talking about? Wright, I think he would definitely be,
Wright,
much better, straight out the gate. But looking longer term, I mean, I'm assuming we're probably going to have a new offensive coordinator in the future. Hopefully someone with a real scheme. I'm more comfortable letting them kind of get the pieces they want. And I think running back's a position where you can get later in the draft, even undrafted. So just because of that, I'm more comfortable. And if we had a 4th round, maybe this conversation would be different. But
I'll say this.
Marist himself.
My bad. To your guys' points, and I said this coming out the draft, right? If you're going to take an L at one of these positions, especially early, and if there was a position to take an L, running back is the obvious one because of what you're saying.
Exactly.
Then once you start diving into it, you can debate on whether you take this player or that player. But just the position in general, I totally understand taking the L at that position in general. So I get it.
But yeah, as far as Marist goes, I will say I'm not a big film guy. I'm not actually a big college guy either. I kind of rely on you and Vosh for that. But yeah, from what I've seen after the draft, I'm really liking him. I think he has a lot of upside. I think long term, of course, I think everyone's pretty high on him.
Yeah.
And this is more kind of maybe just hope, but I think he has a shot of showing up, pretty early, even if he's not a day 1 starter. I think a smart, motivated guy like that can really pick things up and make a splash early when, people aren't expecting him to. I think if any linebacker gets injured, I think he has a good shot of replacing him if he doesn't start himself. And that, not just because he's Puka's cousin, but I think he could be one of those kind of shot in the dark, big, came out of nowhere type of players.
Yeah, if he could potentially be one of those guys that, look, he's not going to be a starter, right now, but if you better not get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you best not get hurt, because if you get hurt, well, you can forget about it now because he's probably not going to come off the field if he picks these things up. But like I said, I don't expect him to be a day 1 star. I don't even expect him to really have this like crazy impact on on defense. I just don't, because I think that Clark and maybe Overshawn, I don't know yet with his knee, but I think that Clark is going to get that shot. But if I say he can't beat them dudes out. I'm just waiting till we get there to see how these dudes pick these things up, because I feel like most of these players are going to get better because of the coaching and the scheme. So if all these guys are getting better and they're veterans, that makes the rookie likely being a guy who has to catch up. But boy, if he catches up, all bets are off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. But I think defensively, I like where we're heading. Feeling pretty good for next couple of years here. But that's all I got for the show.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Great call. And feel free to keep calling in, man. I love all my 717 callers.
All right, I'll try. Thanks, man.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
All right, let's wrap this thing up with 513. What's up, 513?
What's good, bro? It's Marcus.
We got a lot of Marcuses. Which Marcus?
Marcus with the dreads, Sacred Light with the meditations and everything.
Oh, okay. Our Zen guy. Let me put you up in here. Marcus, the Zen master.
Yes, sir. Zen master. I like that. Hey, bro. So I haven't heard this been talked about too much, but I love the flexibility that we have at the linebacker position. I feel like we have the most flexible linebackers in the league, possibly, when it comes to the ability of missiling down into the run stopping, along with coverage ability. When you look at our linebackers, man, wow,
What do you mean by
Marist
that?
knows how to go after the run. He knows how to do coverage skills. Then you look at Overshown, he's like a replica almost. He knows how to missile down the line. He knows how to go sideline to sideline, and he knows how to cover. And then, man, you look at Micah as well and his adaptability and flexibility. We have some super flexible linebackers, and I'm really excited to see what happens with this, because for me, I feel like it makes it very unpredictable, especially because all three of them too have blitzing abilities. So it's like, where are you going to know the blitz is coming from when you have all these linebackers that can either blitz, cover, get the run, and then on top of adding a Nealon on the other end across D-ball? It's going to be interesting, man. And that's not even talking about Sam either.
Yeah. That's a lot of pressure you putting on them boys to be the most versatile linebacker. There is some versatility there for sure. That's high praise, brother. Man, if Demo wasn't hurt, I feel a little bit better. I don't know what I'm getting from Demo. I know he's gonna work his ass off though. But that ACL stuff in Dallas scares me. Clark, can we finally see him get a full year at the natural position? Now, Kendricks, I wouldn't necessarily say he's super versatile, but he can cover and he can blitz and he can. But that's not his game. Isn't this uber versatile guy, right? In the sense of he gonna get me 6.5 sacks and 4 picks and things like that. If you throw Micah in that room though, like you just did, Micah by his damn self, you can make an argument he's going to elevate the versatility of any room. But Liufau, Micah. I see what you're saying. Like these guys from an athletic standpoint.
I'm saying potential wise.
Yeah.
I'm saying potential wise too.
Okay.
I'm not saying like right now, hands down.
Yeah.
Just to clear that for everybody. That would be a very stupid statement to make.
Yeah, we got ways to go before we say that. But I mean, I see the yellow brick road, right? I see what you're trying to do with these guys in regards to the versatility, but it's a TBD. We got to get them out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
AT.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting, the flexibility of, those three linebackers that we have.
Yeah.
With their ability to cover the run as well as blitz and cover.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel you, Marcus. What Zen saying do you have for us on your way out here? Kind of
what Zen thing do I have
like a Zen quote? Don't you guys have some quotes that make people feel good and or sayings that they're supposed to say over? I don't know if you've seen Larry David, but there's sayings they say over and over to calm you down. What do you tell your customers, your clients?
That's an interesting one. Well,
I'll let you think on that.
Something I always like to tell people
go ahead.
is that, no matter where you're at right now, you always have the choice to make a change. You always have the choice to be able to do something to help either heal your mind, your emotions, or your body. And just remember, it all starts with you, your reality that you have around you and that you experience. It all begins with you.
Damn, I'm motivated, man. Appreciate you, Marcus. Damn.
See you later, brother.
I'm about to head on over to his channel right now, man. Put some Zen music. Do I got Zen music? Watch this. Hey, the millionaire song being Zen music is crazy. That was a good one, man. You really don't he sound like, all right, close your eyes and let me take you through this journey. Yeah, I can see it. 100%. Let's get you out of there. He been listening to Tupac. What would have been crazy if he hit us with a hip hop lyric, but in the Zen, Good stuff. Toxic stuff. Hey, T-Dub, I'll fight you on that one, bro. Let me see if I still got some film, man. I'll fight you on that. T-Dub said, hey, we crowning Kendricks. We're crowning Kendricks. Marist could beat him out. Bro. Barring injury, I don't do too much stamping, but I stamp that. Unless he get hurt. That's your middle linebacker. And rightfully so. I mean, Kendricks was still good last year. Was he 2019? No, 2019 Kendricks, but he could play, man. If Marist Liufau beats out Kendricks, y'all, we got our next Sean Lee. I'm serious. I'm dead ass serious. If Marist Liufau pound for pound, bar for bar, whole flow, beats out Eric Kendricks. First of all, he's gonna be pissed. But we have the next best thing at middle linebacker, in my opinion, for the Cowboys. Yep. That's a whole lot. That's a good man. Kendrick's still good, bro. And you know this defense in the back of his hand. Is it politics though? Don't give yourself an out. Don't do that. Here's why I say politics offensively, 100%. We can't come on here, or I can't come on here and say, hey, they give the defensive coordinator, they don't care what the defense coordinator does. They let them do that. Man, go ahead. They allow the defensive coordinator to put a goddamn safety at linebacker, T-Dub. Eric Kendricks is getting $38 in some insurance, health insurance. So how much politics we got there? Yes, he knows, and that's part of it, right? Knowing Zim's defense, that's huge. That's a positive. That's not a politic. That's a positive. He knows this defense, and that's going to help him, I think, out there. So that's what I'm saying. Only way is injury. You're right. Only way it's going to be injury is because Eric Kendricks is going to be better. That's what I'm saying. Damn Skippy. But I get it, man. You know, the grass is greener. New guys. Be excited about them. Shouts out to y'all. We're going to go ahead and hit these. Get out of here. Go ahead and hit these super chats. He ain't getting a lot of money, bro. I could pull it up for you, but he ain't getting a whole lot of money. Ooh, dang. Eric Kendricks getting $2 million. Well, that's the cap. He's actually getting... Man, get this thing out of here. So, oh, there it is. Per Spotrac, Eric Kendricks, cash, straight cash, homie, got paid $3 million, bro. So if $3 million is enough to play politics, man, hey, man, we in worse shape than I thought. All right, let's see here. Today is the 8th, right? Yep. Let's go all the way down to Finn. Shouts out to Finn. Dropped 3 of these things. We did read one already.
Super chat.
From G-Dub earlier, but we got 3 from Finn. First one, who wins the camp battle more? Guyton versus Nealon? Oh, okay. Who wins the camp battle more? Guyton versus Nealon. I think Nealon's going to have a lot of wins against him early. Yep. Because Nealon can do some things with his hands, and I don't know though, bro. Working with his hands though, but I'll go Nealon right now. I'll go Nealon. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about it. T-Dub said they robbed him. Hey, like you said, he's a little older, bro. Finn also said, who has the bigger impact, Nealon or Mozzie? You a big Nealon fan? That's a good one. That's a damn good question, Finn. Gun to the head right now. I'm gonna say Mozzie. I say Mozzie because Mozzie's going to be a starter. Mozzie is going to help free up guys in the back. You hope so. The second level. I'm going to say Mozzie. Nealon still is going to have to... He's going to be in a rotation. This is what it is. technically he'd be your fourth or fifth guy, depending on who steps up or who doesn't. Where Mozzie is the starter, the guy, should be getting at least 40 snaps a game type situation. Music covers, appreciate you. Oh, wait, was there one more? Yeah, one more from Finn.
Super chat.
He said not getting Blake Watson was crazy. I mean, I think the cat from Missouri, not Pete, the other guy. There was some dudes still left there in the fifth. I don't think they were the same tier as the others, but it was still dudes there. Music cover dropped 2 and said, I think this was a Zimmer beating on the table pick. Probably. I think that might definitely have something to do with it. Him, Paul Gunther. Again, if you go listen to the audio from McCurley, first name he brought up was Gunther. He said, I zeroed in on this guy immediately. Defensive coaches definitely were like, hey, this is our guy. And I bet you, who's Jeff Blasco and any other offensive line coaches or McCarthy were probably like, I'd take the running back, right? They probably pounding the table for the running back. But my thought process is they looked at the linebacker stack, which was not deep in this class, by the way. And they looked at the running back stack, which was deep in this class. And they said, okay, we're going to gamble. And if we're going to gamble on one of these positions being there for us in the fifth, I mean, it was clear as day you take the gamble on the running back over the linebacker. Also, the running back position, while kind of equivalent to linebacker on the other side of the ball, the value is decreased. So I get what they were thinking. All these backs, somebody will be there. These minimal linebackers, he won't last. I think that's how they approached it. Kind of lost though, because those that run on backs, the Ray Davis and Garendos and these guys, they got wiped in the fourth. Even right before their picks, they were getting running backs taken. So they lost that one. And then G-Dub with the super chat earlier talking about Quinn that we touched on there. Appreciate y'all, man. Good super chats, good calls today. The chat been on fire. We even had breaking news earlier, so I got to get on that too. BB versus Mozzie. Ooh, BB versus Mozzie. Guyton versus Nealon. Micah versus Guyton, right? And D-Law. We ain't talked about the corner yet. I know Aaron wants to, but I can't wait to talk about him next week too. I think it'll be next week. Him versus them receivers. Yeah, there's gonna be some battles at camp. Hey, you wrong. Toxic Tom said Trey Lance RB1. Man, I was listening to Stand Back Cap for Trey, and I'm like, bro, wait, man, what are we doing here? Let's go. Let's see Trey, man. We gotta hope and pray for this kid to just take the next step at the position. He was putting a cap on this dude, like, yeah, man, he gonna be the next. Oh, slow down. You ready to move off? MVP candidate. Let's relax a little bit. Let's get out here. Trey need to be out there this weekend with the rookies, dead ass. I know they signed these other. I don't care about any of that. He need all the reps. Give him all them reps. Now you go out there and look crazy, and then the conversation picks up. But slow down, man. Dude still learn how to take snap from under center. I'm just saying. Breaking news: the Foots calling. Nah, Foots ain't calling, man. Foots ain't calling. He said, "Hey, stand back there, Lion. See what I did there? I see what you did, bro." Oh, I got to get this one here in a second. Got an important call. All right, we definitely got to all the super chats. One more refresh. Yep. Y'all know the drill, man. If you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit the like button. Let's get this algorithm working for this Cowboys morning show. You guys have helped it grow, into my opinion, the best Cowboys morning show in the land. But we aren't done yet. We are not done. We are shooting for the stars. I guess pun intended. Share this with your friends, family, and foe on the way out. Tomorrow, we're going to pick up the rookie talk. But not from a rating the draft standpoint. We're just going to kind of collectively look at all these rookies, and I think there might be a few of these guys, second-year players that might come in for rookie minicamp. I don't know. But we'll look at a watch list, some battles, just some things that'll be on my mind about rookie minicamp, where guys may play, all these things. And we'll discuss that with y'all for tomorrow's show, and then we'll have Pat on Friday. So that's where we're at for the rest of the week. We got it all taken care of. The next week, we'll pick this thing right back up with Rate and Draft. All right? And obviously, we'll have news and nuggets coming out of rookie minicamp. With that said, go ahead and press this button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Appreciate you, Toxic. You gotta keep it a bean here, man. Got to keep it a bean. It's all I know. I can't fake it. Feel weird if I let that happen. All good, Rodney. Hit that like button on the way out. Appreciate you, Dion. Love y'all.